AP, Reuters, Sky Television, all reporting Al-Qaeda bomber worked for UK intelligence. And they go and admit the documents are real and that he was a British intel guy out commanding Al-Qaeda forces. Same story with the 7/7 bombing with the SWAT. Same story with Anwar al-Awlaki running the underwear bombing, the Times Square. I mean, why would Fox News be given a Pentagon document and then the Pentagon go, yeah, that's true? Are they almost inoculating this in case it comes out later that I mean, bin Laden literally is a hand puppet for the globalists?
Well, they may be, or they may be. It may be like a straw man they're putting out there to get it out there so they can control the reaction rather than have a.
That's what I meant. Titrate the dose.
I think so. And look, we got to go back to what the former British Foreign Secretary Robin Cook said, that Al Qaeda was nothing more than a CIA database. It meant the base. It meant a database of all these Arabs, Egyptians, Saudis that were used in the war against the Soviet Union. And he died suddenly of a heart attack after making these revelations. Robin Cook, as Foreign Secretary, was also in charge of MI6, and he was in charge of the British NSA, the GCHQ. He would have known this.
Why did Dr. David Kelly, the head inspector, go public and say they've told me they're going to kill me and put me in the woods, and they did it? Why would the former head of the MI6, why did he go public? I mean, they've got to know what's going to happen to him.
I think Robin Cook realized what a treasonous person Tony Blair was. He resigned from the Blair government, and then he went public.
Yeah, the word is he was mad about him murdering Kelly.
Right, and the word is we had a leak of information about spying on the UN from a GCHQ person named Catherine Gunn, and they never prosecuted her because the word is that people like Robin Cook and Claire Short, who had also resigned from the Blair administration, probably encouraged that leak to just point out that Tony Blair was just a lying, deceptive.
Well, the word is he was the same as Obama. He kept tabs on the leftists in college for MI5.
Oh, absolutely. And Tony Blair, look, the minute Clinton leaves office, he's running over here to hug George W. Bush. The guy's a total chameleon. He's, but people like...
By the way, they're talking about him for EU president or Schwarzenegger, which is perfect because it's an unelected position. So we'll talk about that with Wayne Madsen when we come back, going a little bit into overdrive. WikiLeaks is also reporting, and the Telegraph's got a report out today that, they're radicalizing people in London mosque. That's what the Guantanamo torture shows. Actually, what it shows is that they torture people there for 2, 3, 4, 5 years and then release them, and they end up being the commanders of the rebel forces in places like Libya. And from our Bilderberg sources, through Jim Tucker, that have proven to be very accurate, they were beside themselves at a Trilateral Commission meeting last week. That first, the Stanford Review tried to deny he was at that meeting, and then they had to correct. Well, I guess he was at a trilateral meeting in that neighborhood. Okay, but still, this Alex Jones report isn't true. But to make a long story short, the globalists are hopping mad that the LA Times and others reported that indeed Al-Qaeda is the main force of the, quote, good guys in Libya. I mean, how much more obvious does this have to get, Wayne?
I mean, we have so much ample evidence that Al-Qaeda is just basically has been run by the CIA and its affiliate agencies around the world, Australia, Britain, other countries. I don't know how much more evidence people need to know that this is a fake organization. It was created for the whole purpose of bringing about, amongst other things, the Patriot Act here and similar acts and laws in other countries. The mere fact of what we have to travel like we do now. When I left Reagan yesterday, I had to go through the millimeter wave detection. And I never take my wallet out. And the guy says, "What's in your pocket?" I said, "My wallet." He says, "Give me that wallet." I'm not used to giving.
It's all prisoner training. Line up. Give me that.
Exactly. And then they insisted on wanding my hands and checking it in some machine. And he says, "Okay, you can go now."
It's training you that you're bad. You're a prisoner. It's taking normal, law-abiding people and giving us prisoner training.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember when you didn't have to go through a magnetometer when you went to the airport. You could go to your plane, with 15 minutes to spare.
You got a better chance of being killed by a honeybee. I pulled up the numbers than by an al-Qaeda terrorist. I mean, since when do they, even if you don't think the government's behind the terror, folks, and they're behind almost all of it, there is some real organic. The way they, it's going to get you. Oh, man. Oh, it's so scary. Don't worry, we're going to take all your rights away and launch a bunch of wars and make trillions of bucks. And then we get the internal MIAC Homeland Security reports. It's all about landowners, gun owners, anti-war, libertarian, Ron Paul groups. This is all about the American people.
Well, remember, they instituted airport checks because of the planes being hijacked to Cuba. And what were we exposed to? Oh, these people are hijacking planes to Cuba because they're all in bed with Fidel Castro. Like Castro, planned the whole operation. Again, that sounds like that. Even those original hijackings may have...
Well, now it's come out, even in that... it's the documentary about the Munich Olympics. I forget the name. It's One Day in September. It has Michael Douglas as the voiceover. And at the end, they have the head of German intelligence from the time go ahead and admit they staged it. And he goes on and admits that they staged fake hijackings after it. Like it's cute. But still the terrorists are going to get you, but it was staged.
Well, we know...
it gets worse. We know some of the hijackings and bombings blamed on Fidel were actually carried out by the CIA. They were fake.
Right. And we know from French intelligence and British intelligence sources that the hijacking of the Air France plane to Uganda, to Entebbe. Remember, raid on Entebbe was conducted by the Mossad to make the Palestinians look bad because the French were talking about maybe making some deal with the Palestinians.
And by the way, this is not our opinion. I go see a movie 10 years ago that got a best documentary of that year, and they just admit at the end it was all staged. It was weird.
Absolutely. It's almost like we are truly living in the Matrix. Some of us have taken the red pill, but many of us opted for the blue pill, but really should take the red pill so they know how deep the rabbit hole really goes.
Absolutely. You had one other development on the Obama front that's important.
Well, recently there was a hearing in the U.S. District Court in Washington, D.C. An individual sued Larry Sinclair. He wrote a book about Obama in Chicago, claimed that he had 2 sexual trysts with Obama in 1999, did cocaine with Obama. The law firm that represented the plaintiff is Patton and Boggs, one of the most powerful law firms in Washington, D.C. Let's figure about $700 to $800 an hour law firm. So they were used to sue Larry Sinclair and also his booksellers, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Books A Million. Judge Leon threw out that lawsuit against the booksellers. The suit against Larry Sinclair is still being deliberated upon, but it was quite interesting. I and only one other journalist, my colleague Andrew Craig, were sitting in that courtroom. Nobody from the Post, nobody from any other publication. We were there. We heard Judge Leon in deliberations asked a question. Well, he said, "Well, what accusations are we making here? Are these the accusations against the president?" And he clearly, this is now part of the official transcript in a court hearing in Washington, D.C. This one will not go away either. We have the choir director at Trinity United Church of Christ, Donald Young. His mother says she's now fearful of her life and that her son was fearful of his life. It was her son that contacted Larry Sinclair and said, "I saw your YouTube video about Obama. Be very, very careful. These people are dangerous." And, of course, Donald Young was killed gangland execution style. He was on his way. He wanted to go to Liberia to teach school to get out of the United States, talking about people who knew Obama very well, in his case maybe really very well, wanting to get out of the country, but they nailed him, and they nailed another guy from the church, a guy named Larry Bland. So we have two people winding up dead right out of Trinity United Church of Christ. These people, I do believe, mean business when they issue four threats.
But you weren't told why you've been through an embassy, a foreign embassy, and a major news publication, been told the White House wants you dead. And you say, well, figuratively, and they said, no, literally. You're just guessing it's the CIA background, but I mean, it may be that you're digging around into his sexual escapades.
That could be, and certainly but that has been also the subject of the tabloids. They've covered that extensively. The Globe, has written about that. I think because they control Chicago and they control it very well, they can deal with that. What they probably can't deal with is they don't have their fingers everywhere as much as they might want to think they do. I don't think they can deal with Indonesia. I don't think they can deal with the mother's background in Pakistan.
Hawaii, the high-powered people coming out saying, no, he was born here. It's just he has a different name. He's a different person.
Right. I've even heard from one fairly reputable source that maybe Obama's real father was a Cuban who, when his mother was taken by her father to Cuba. And
I'll tell you, I've looked at his dad. He looks nothing like his supposed Kenyan dad. I mean, he looks nothing.
There is absolutely no resemblance. One could say that the resemblance would be more fitting of somebody who might have been an Afro-Cuban or somebody from one of the more Hamitic tribes of the Horn of Africa in Kenya or a neighboring country, but certainly not somebody who was a member of the Luo tribe, because they are a Bantu tribe, and Obama just does not have any of the Bantu features.
I mean, his dad looks nothing like him.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
There is absolutely no resemblance. And this comes from people from Africa who
know the tribes.
Who are from Uganda and Kenya. They look at the father. They say this can't be this. It can't be his father. They know this because this is their continent, and in their region they know these things about the people.
Well, it's almost like if you had two black people and they had a redheaded kid. I mean, it just doesn't. Hey, Wayne, great job.